Chapter 206, Sound of Tao, Part 2. Lu Shu then brought Lu Xiaoyu home to pack their stuff. He looked at the pink luggage bought yesterday and said in annoyance, "Didn't I say to buy a white one? You had to insist on a pink one. How could a man like me be dragging such a girly thing? I am a girl, why can't I think like one?" Lu Xiaoyu was dissatisfied. "But you're not the one lugging the luggage." Lu Shu was rather embarrassed. "I am a suave and charismatic Daoyuan student. Military official. Why am I pulling a pink luggage around? It's really gay." "Lu Shu, from the words you used, do you have some misconceptions about yourself?" "No." Little Fury was grasping a pencil and scribbling words intently at the side. It was delighted that these two people were going on a holiday. After all, it knew that they would definitely bring him along. Since being here from the realm of the remains, it had not been to any other city. Were there female squirrels in other cities? There were only rats and mice in this city. It was really degrading. It learned to be smart now. Whenever the siblings were squabbling, it would try not to be as prominent and stay quiet, or else it might be dragged into their troubles. But it then heard Lu Shu say, "We'll bring Little Fury's tablet, pencil, and notebook as well. It's important to learn and learning never stops." Little Fury? The pencil in Little Fury's little paws started trembling slightly. Didn't televisions show holidays and vacations as something relaxing and enjoyable? From Little Fury's distress, +1+1+1, Lu Xiaoyu was also taken aback. Is there really nothing wrong with this logic? Lu Shu waved his arm, "Nothing at all. We'll be there for about 10 days and apparently it's quite cold at Qingzhou Lake, where we are going to marvel the sunrise and sunset. Apparently, the weather is so cold that it's normal to wear thick down jackets over there. So we not only need to bring enough inner clothing, we still have to bring jackets, and extra socks as well. After all, they don't take up much space," Lu Shu said while pondering. Lu Xiaoyu and he were now practitioners and they weren't afraid of the cold anymore. When other people require down jackets, they'll be able to make do with just a single layer of thin jacket. In this aspect, they were better off compared to commoners. This was one of the advantages of being a practitioner. Lu Shu continued, "We'll have to bring detergent as well. Any other item we have to bring along as well?" "Instant noodles, potato chips and rice cakes," Lu Xiaoyu said without holding back. "Why bring all those? It's a 22-hour-long train journey. We'll definitely be eating on the train, at least 3 meals. I saw online that not only are meals on the train the worst, they are extremely expensive as well. Wouldn't we be looking for trouble if we don't bring our own food?" Lu Xiaoyu argued. "Then let's just bring 6 packets of instant noodles," Lu Shu nodded. Lu Xiaoyu had no expression on her face. "Lu Shu, one of these days you'll lose me if you continue behaving this way." From Lu Xiaoyu's distress, +199. "All right, I was just kidding. We'll bring potato chips and rice cakes as well." Lu Shu responded merrily, "We'll buy some groceries after this. Our train is scheduled for tomorrow night. I'll cook a meal in the afternoon and we can invite the old man and Auntie Lu over for lunch. You've been eating at their house for so long, even if I did pay them, we still owe them a favor," Lu Shu explained. Although he gave $300 to Auntie Lu for the food, and she would not reject him because she understood his personality, the $300 were sufficient for the food, but why should they cook for you? This was all based on our relationship with them. To Lu Shu, the old man was a highly skilled Class B practitioner and Auntie Lu was definitely not much worse as well. But for some unknown reason, Lu Shu just can't sense any energy waves from them. And this is in spite of him being able to sense Li Xiao's energy waves. It was not that Lu Shu thought that this Auntie Lu was the boss of concealment. Lu Shu just felt that Auntie Lu definitely had some special concealment technique. In the early morning of the day of their departure, Lu Shu went over to train on his swordplay as usual. To Lu Shu, since training was something that required commitment and determination, he would persevere and stay committed to the end. The sky at 3 a.m. was still dark, but the old man's yard had lights built such that it was convenient for him to read there. The old man asked, "It seems like you guys are going out?"
Yeah.
Lu Shu nodded. "Come over to my place with Auntie Lu this afternoon for lunch. I've already bought the ingredients." "All right," Li Xianyi nodded his head. "It's good to spend some time outside as well. Being well-versed in knowledge and being exposed to the world. These two aspects would greatly heighten a person's understanding of the world." However, Li Xianyi, at this moment, wanted to remind Lu Shu to not forget about training his swordplay even though he's out having fun. After all, training is like sailing against the current. In the end, he realized that his words were futile as he was halfway through. With Lu Shu's stubborn and determined personality, he would train sincerely even without any reminders. Li Xianyi was thoroughly impressed by Lu Shu's character. It's not as if he can't be impressed by Lu Shu just because he was so much younger than him. In fact, Lu Shu's determination was far greater than his when he was Lu Shu's age. Take Lu Shu's qi for example. Within a month, Lu Shu's qi had far surpassed his level when he just unlocked his mountain of qi. Li Xianyi wondered how much longer Lu Shu could hold it in. He watched as Lu Shu focused on his training, going into deep thought. But just then, in the quiet night, a distinct sound of dripping water could be heard. This sound was crisp as if it was dripping right in Li Xianyi's heart. It was like when thick clouds in the sky gathered together and finally reached the critical value, a drop of water would fall. The sound was real, but Li Xianyi was very clear that this wasn't a real drop of water. This was the sound of the martial Tao. Only when a true practitioner reaches a certain level would such a sound surface. It's the sound of I Dao. He turned towards Lu Shu. No one else was there apart from Lu Shu. If it wasn't himself, then it definitely came from Lu Shu. Li Xianyi then shut both of his eyes suddenly, only then can he truly feel it more intricately. He saw Lu Shu's qi outside of his sea of qi, it was really amassing to form clouds and rain. The sound of water previously was the sound of a water droplet from Lu Shu's cloud. Amongst the people with Li Xianyi, no one had witnessed qi as vast as the ocean, not even in the form of rivers. But qi amassing into clouds and raindrops was something seen once in a blue moon. One elder who achieved the raindrops wrote in the manual, as of today, qi raindrops were achieved and it was accompanied by the sound of Tao. Chapter 207, The Birth Year, Part 3. Li Xianyi was significantly affected back when he obtained the manual from his master. But he still read through every single line within the manual. Li Xianyi thought that the number of people who could achieve qi rain from the clouds was few, if not none. Even he wanted to achieve this, but to no avail. But at this moment, this teenager in front of him is accomplishing this. And it was under his supervision that he achieved this in almost 2 months. Lu Shu turned towards Li Xianyi. "Grandpa, I think I have already managed to turn the clouds into rain." Li Xianyi answered calmly, Continue training harder." Lu Shu nodded and continued with his practice. Do not be fooled by Li Xianyi's calm demeanor. His heart was anything but that. This was the rain formed from the qi cloud. But what could he say now? To tell Lu Shu that he was kidding with him previously and that he was actually a prodigy? He couldn't bring himself to say it. Frustrating. In the past, it was frustrating to converse with the two siblings. Now, even watching him train was frustrating. Could he be the rumored frustrated and hot-tempered type? From Li Xianyi's distress, plus 333. Lu Shu was confused, but he couldn't ask the old man why there were distress points. He really couldn't think of a reason. And the biggest change that came with the rain was that every 15 minutes, there would be a drop of water falling from the clouds. And this droplet would fall towards the sea of qi, causing Lu Shu to use plenty of energy to suppress the disturbance. Initially, Lu Shu thought that he wouldn't be able to continue holding it. For the entire morning, he didn't even sell stinky tofu. He just sat on his bed, entirely focused on thinking how to counter the clouds and water. He still thought that whatever others could do, he had no reason not to be able to do it as well. Everyone knew that Lu Shu was stubborn, but they didn't know where it came from. His stubbornness came from his subtle arrogance. He was no weaker than anyone. He could survive well on his own, why receive anything from anyone else? This was his simple logic. So at this moment, Lu Shu stubbornly thought that he could accomplish whatever anyone else can accomplish. Indeed, a person's potential was limitless, and Lu Shu slowly realized that his control of the situation was improving. Sometimes, when normal people do things, they would feel that this would be too difficult, that task would be too tough, another one would be impossible. These were thoughts from people who weren't forced and pressured by their circumstances. When people are forced to their maximum, many people would realize that anything is possible. And Lu Shu was someone who forced himself on this path. He was too hard on himself. He slowly got up and washed some vegetables. He did everything slowly as if he was caught on a slow-motion camera on 0.25x the normal speed. He was afraid that one careless moment of his would cause the Qi mountain to open. Lu Xiaoyu sat on the sofa in the living room and looked at Lu Shu in confusion. Lu Shu, are you stoned? Just watch your television. Lu Shu said without holding back, if you have the slightest bit of empathy, go and pluck some vegetables from the garden outside. All right, Lu Xiaoyu nodded her head and dashed outside. Little Fury was learning its vocabulary diligently. It understood that it was definitely a bad time to anger Lu Shu, as there would definitely be grave consequences. During lunch in the afternoon, Li Xianyi, Auntie Lu, and Lu Xiaoyu stared at Lu Shu getting his food slowly in confusion. They suppressed their laughter, hands trembling while holding onto their bowls. Just laugh if you want to, Lu Shu said with a black face. At this moment, Lu Shu wanted to ask one question. Why couldn't he receive his own distress points? His second nebula will be filled in no time. Auntie Lu smiled, Little Shu, you're in so much agony, why not just release your Qi mountain? Lu Shu shot back, no. If I give up now, wouldn't I have suffered for nothing? He continued his principle of controlling the Qi, always concentrated. In the end, when Li Xianyi saw Lu Shu again in the yard later in the afternoon, he realized that Lu Shu's movements were back to normal speed. Lu Shu actually realized that he could multitask, being able to do one thing while controlling the Qi energy. No, it wasn't multitasking. He did not have such a gift. In fact, it was his control of the Qi energy that was becoming a second nature to him, just like walking and breathing, requiring less effort the more he did it. Of course, Lu Shu had yet to attain such a level. But he was definitely working hard in the right direction. At night, Lu Shu pulled his luggage along in one hand while holding Lu Xiaoyu in the other, preparing to set off for the train station. This train started its journey from Linhai City and terminated at Wumu City in the northwest. It only stopped over at Luocheng in the middle for a short while. Their boarding time was 8:45 p.m. but Lu Shu decided to bring Lu Xiaoyu over earlier. After all, it was their first time taking a train and they didn't even know how to get their tickets checked. It was better to go earlier. Li Xianyi and Auntie Lu stood at their yard to send them off. Auntie Lu adjusted Lu Xiaoyu's clothes, stick close to your brother when you're outside. Although the country is safe and peaceful now, there's bound to be some people with ill intentions. Lu Xiaoyu nodded her head obediently as Little Fury slept peacefully on her shoulder. Li Xianyi hesitated for a moment at the side until he could resist it no longer. Lu Shu, is this year your zodiac's year? Why are you so joyous lugging the luggage? Lu Shu was confused. What zodiac year? What joyous? Could he speak some sense? He glared murderously at Lu Xiaoyu. He already said to not get this color. We're leaving. Lu Shu's face turned dark. You guys look after yourselves, we'll get some souvenirs for you. Li Xianyi said suddenly, feel free to call me if you run into trouble and can't solve the problem. Lu Shu's expression turned serious. They were both practitioners, so naturally, he knew what trouble the old man was referring to. This reminded him that he could always count on the old man even if he meets a strong opponent far away. He wasn't extremely selfish and ungrateful, but based on this friendship, Lu Shu felt that he definitely had to find an opportunity to give the old man a refresher fruit, or something to improve his shackled health. Chapter 208, Luocheng Train Station, Part 1. Luocheng Train Station was small and run down, and it looked just like an infrastructure from the previous century, something from the 90s. Lu Shu suddenly felt that it was rather inappropriate to describe it as such, because this train station was seemingly built at that time but never got renovated or improved ever since. He heard that there was a film director who was planning to film a war film titled 1942 at the start of the year. When he approached Luocheng's relevant government authorities to express his interest in using the train station as a filming location, as it fit the landscape of the time, but in the end, the authorities naturally rejected him. Damn, you're filming a 1942 movie and you're using our train station as a location? And to claim that our train station fits the warring and chaotic period? What a joke. Luocheng train station had exactly this sort of reputation and existence. After that incident, Lu Shu heard that the government officials were affected and planned to renovate the station. But looking at this old and run-down infrastructure, Lu Shu felt that it would be rather difficult for this renovation project to be carried out. Lu Shu stood at the ticketing counter and after deliberating with little fury for a period of time, he chucked it into the pink luggage. Previously, he had never sat on a train, never left Luocheng and never had a pet. So he had no idea if Little Fury could enter the train station. Only until he reached the entrance did he realize that pets were not allowed on trains. After he was done with his preparation, he held Lu Xiaoyu's hand and the two of them entered the station after presenting their tickets. The luggage was put through a conveyor belt and scanner before emerging from the other side. As the two of them were passing by the customs examination, someone stopped Lu Shu. "Is that pink luggage yours?" The examiner was a female, and upon seeing Lu Shu taken aback, she continued, "Sorry, I might have made a mistake. Who does this pink luggage belong to?" The first reaction the customs examiner had when she saw the pink luggage was to think that it definitely belonged to a girl. But when she saw Lu Shu, she felt rather confused. Lu Shu replied blankly, "It's all right, it's mine." From Li Huihui's Distress, +29. Oh, the customs examiner was rather surprised, but she still had to get her point across. "Do you have a pet in your luggage?" "Pets are not permitted on trains, you can go and plan for its shipment." Lu Shu responded calmly, "This isn't alive, it's just a decoration. Look if you don't believe." He flipped open his luggage and grabbed Little Fury. Throughout this entire process, Little Fury remained motionless. From Little Fury's Distress. "It looks extremely real, but it, in fact, isn't," Lu Shu asserted. As he spoke, he used his finger to stroke Little Fury, but it continued remaining motionless, not even blinking. From Little Fury's Distress. The examiner doubtfully used her finger to touch Little Fury. Although it felt soft and rather warm, the squirrel did not move at all, just like a decorative ornament. From Little Fury's Distress. The other party was rather puzzled. She indeed felt some warmth from the squirrel, but it's really too suspicious. Just then, someone passed by Lu Shu with a bag of chips. The crisp sound of potato chips could be heard and Little Fury turned its head over immediately. Only after it turned around did it remember that it's not supposed to move. After 2 minutes, Lu Shu was standing outside the ticketing counter, seemingly flustered. "Didn't I tell you not to move?" Lu Shu said after taking a deep breath. Little Fury maintained its innocent face. "Blame me then? From today on, you'll have to learn 80 words. Not even one less." Little Fury was dumbfounded on the spot. It looked as if it was struck by lightning. From Little Fury's Distress, +1+1+1. Lu Shu eyed the walls outside the ticketing counter and his eyes lit up. "Can you climb up those walls?" Little Fury nodded its head obediently. You climb up from here directly. I think you'll be able to bypass the checks right to the platform in no time. You'll meet us there, Lu Shu explained. This was the advantage of the animals being intelligent. At least they could communicate now, or else he would really have a problem. He looked on as Little Fury disappeared upwards. He then brought Lu Xiaoyu along toward the train once more. Lu Xiaoyu was extremely enthralled. She felt refreshed as it was her first time going on a vacation. There were so many people bustling and waiting for the train, and then sitting in the metallic train for up to 1,000 kilometers. She was absolutely amazed. The huge screen in the lobby displayed boarding times and departure times for every train, as well as which platform each train will be at. Lu Shu looked at his ticket. We'll need to go to platform 2. They passed by numerous people, and there were all sorts of people around. Lu Shu, where do you think everyone taking the train is going? And what for? Lu Xiaoyu asked curiously. Her eyes widened as well, looking rather adorable. In reality, Lu Shu and Lu Xiaoyu looked like an odd combination. And from their appearance, they looked rather prominent. This was also what being a practitioner brought about. And Lu Xiaoyu, who was attractive inherently, was indeed much more eye-catching than other people. So when they were below the huge screen, there would be people who'd glance at them occasionally before looking over at the bright pink luggage. Probably the same as us, some of them are going for vacations while some might be going for work. In a small city such as Luocheng, the majority of the people would wander outside, to the north or something. After working hard over there, people can stay there their entire life and buy luxurious stuff. Of course, there are those who would come back as well. After all, not everyone would succeed, Lu Shu explained meticulously. Would we leave in future as well? Lu Xiaoyu asked curiously. Lu Shu thought for a moment, probably don't have to. I think Luocheng is great. The pace of life is slow and the people are rather nice. The most important thing is that we already have a house here, we just bought it over. The property in the north is extremely expensive, not something we can afford. But we can go out to play and return to Luocheng after we're done.
Yeah.
I think Luocheng is pretty good too, Lu Xiaoyu nodded her head obediently. To the both of them, Luocheng was everything they had up till now. This time, they'd spend about 10 days at Qingzhou. It's impossible to explore the entire state, and Lu Shu's plan was to spend the first day at bazaars and streets to shop and eat. On the second day, they would follow a local tour group to visit monasteries and then go to the Qingzhou Lake to watch the sunrise. And then they would go to the Chaka Salt Lake. Although people have been saying that Chaka Salt Lake has been deteriorating as a natural scenery since they were going there, they might as well pay it a visit. Apparently, the flowers by Qingzhou's streets will bloom in a few days. The vibrant yellow petals and crisp green leaves would be numerous, and just the thought of it was beautiful. Chapter 209, University Students, Part 2. Lu Shu brought Lu Xiaoyu over to Platform 2. Didn't the movies always show kids being abducted here? For example, a stranger giving you a bottle of spiked drink. Or scamming and abducting women to be sold off as wives in a land far away. Judging from Lu Xiaoyu's face value, she had to be more careful when she's outside. Some people say that being attractive is an innate crime. Why? Lu Shu didn't really agree. How could being attractive be a crime? Who didn't care about looks in the world now? If there was any mistake, it had to be human nature. Of course, this sort of matter could not be analyzed just by superficial means. Considering Lu Xiaoyu's current ability, having completed the 4th star of the 2nd nebula, just one behind than Lu Shu, she could already be considered a Class D strength-type metahuman. Lu Shu suddenly thought about the news that whenever women were abducted, their villagers would become more alert and look after one another. Initially, the women could seek help from so many people, but in the end, they were surrounded by black-hearted villains. If this was the case, Lu Xiaoyu would probably destroy them. But those, in reality, were just thoughts. Lu Shu would never allow such a thing to happen under his watch. How could he ever let Lu Xiaoyu be abducted? If Lu Xiaoyu was abducted, it would be his lifelong shame. Taking care of Lu Xiaoyu was his natural responsibility as her guardian.
Yeah.
Now that they had solved the issue of household registration, Lu Shu was Lu Xiaoyu's official guardian, although he was not even 18 yet. It was actually weird now that he thought about it. He was probably the first ever 17-year-old guardian? If laws were really imposed, this probably did not fulfill the regulations. We have one middle bunk and one lower bunk. Which one do you want to sleep in? Lu Shu asked as he looked at the tickets. The middle bunk, Lu Xiaoyu responded, I'll swap with you if it's uncomfortable. All right, Lu Shu had no objections. Towards such minor aspects, Lu Shu would just do whatever Lu Xiaoyu pleased. At this moment, a woman's voice suddenly filled the platform, attention all passengers. Train T204 towards Wumu City is about to. Let's go, it's our train. Lu Shu held Lu Xiaoyu and walked towards the ticket inspection counter. Just as they stood up, they noticed Little Fury climbing the glass windows towards the lobby. It even waved excitedly as it saw Lu Shu and Lu Xiaoyu. Although when it realized that it had to learn 80 words every day, it could tolerate all that, for the refresher fruit. In fact, Little Fury felt that it was living quite well now. Although Lu Shu forced it to learn new words, it was generally happy living under the care of Lu Shu and Lu Xiaoyu. For some reason, Little Fury felt like it was part of a family under that tiny roof in Luocheng. Although Lu Xiaoyu was rather stingy with her tidbits usually, Lu Shu would often prepare stuff that Little Fury liked during mealtimes, and even prepare a bowl for it on the table instead of haphazardly preparing a meal on the floor. As Lu Shu and Lu Xiaoyu went through the ticketing counter, Little Fury hopped onto Lu Xiaoyu's shoulder. To her delight, she retrieved a pack of potato chips from her bag and opened it, handing one piece to Little Fury, here. In the past, they lacked food and clothing, and Lu Xiaoyu shared her chips in halves. Now that they were better off, she shared her chips in whole pieces. When the green train entered the station, Lu Shu brought them to carriage 12. Lu Xiaoyu was filled with curiosity as it was their first time encountering such a large machine. As they stepped into the bunker carriage, it didn't look very messy. At least much better than what they watched on Lost on Journey a few days ago. It was precisely after watching Lost on Journey on June 4th with Lu Xiaoyu did Lu Shu decide to buy the bunker tickets. The conditions of the seated carriage were really too devastating. Moreover, it was a 22-hour journey and Lu Shu felt that he wouldn't make it if he didn't buy the bunker tickets. It wasn't that his body couldn't take it, but the qi he was controlling. He now needed a quieter place, now that he could more or less gauge the tempo of the qi cloud. But this was still a rough gauge. Every drop of water from his cloud would cause huge movements in his qi. Previously, Lu Shu thought that he could get used to it slowly, but it was not the case at all. The qi cloud was slowly turning into rain droplets, and the rain droplets would gather into a stream. Controlling a stream was far more difficult than suppressing the qi. Moreover, he was still eating qi fruits. Lu Shu looked at the different bunks to look for their bottom bunk. When he found it, he saw 2 guys and 2 girls playing cards on their bunks, 2 on each bunk. The guy and girl on the bottom bunk were wearing matching tees. These people probably knew each other. They seemed like university students. It was quite easy to tell the difference between high school students and university students. The high school girls didn't wear makeup. Under usual circumstances, high school girls didn't wear makeup. They rarely put on makeup as well. It was, however, different for university girls. They probably wouldn't even leave their house without washing up and putting on makeup. This was also the reason how some unattractive girls suddenly looked extremely different after enrolling into university. As for the guys, those who were originally unpresentable remained unpresentable during university. He didn't mind it and said cheerfully, "Apologies, could you guys make way? This is my bunk." The 4 people stopped playing. The guy sitting on Lu Shu's bottom bunk laughed, "You could sit at the side?" Do you mind waiting for a moment? We're almost done. Lu Shu raised his eyebrows, thinking that this guy was rather audacious. He was so kind to apologize, shouldn't his reaction be to end their game immediately and hand the bunk over? With the two of you sitting here, you want me to sit at the side? What for? To play cards for you. Seeing as these people had no intention of getting up, Lu Shu tapped on the upper bunk and asked, "What's this?" The guy sitting on the lower bunk was rather confused. "That's the upper bunk. What else could it be?" He then pointed to the middle bunk, "And this?" The guy was puzzled. "That's the middle bunk." Lu Shu then breathed and pointed at the lower bunk they were sitting on, "And what's this?" The guy was almost annoyed. What did this guy want? He said confidently, "That's the lower bunk." Lu Shu shook his head. "No, that's my lower bunk." The four university students were taken aback. "Are you sick? Can't you just say so?" From Yuan Liang to us distress, _178. From Yuan Li's distress, +61. From. The four of them contributed less than 500 distress points, and Lu Shu began to have some slight regret. Chapter 210, The Milky Way, Part 3. Lu Shu obviously said all these with the intention of annoying them. But he actually meant to be polite and ask them nicely to get up. But it's all right that they didn't get up. It's all right that they wanted to finish this game. But it seemed apparent that they wanted to continue the game for a much longer time. If I let you play uncomfortably, how could the great name Lu Shu from Luocheng International School be still seen highly? What happens to my pride in the name Lu Shu? If this was to be spread to Luocheng, how could I, the great demon Lord Lu Shu, have an influential name in the world? Coughs, that was thinking way too much. The guy sitting on the lower bunk suddenly stood up and looked at Lu Shu. "What's wrong, bro? Didn't we say you can take a seat? We'll be done soon?" Just as Lu Shu was looking at the guy in front of him gleefully, he sensed movements of energy from the other party. Not just one of them, but from all four of them. Did he stumble upon a train solely meant for Daoyuan students? He peered at the carriage next to his.
Yeah.
No other practitioners. He turned his head back, smiling at the other party. To be brutally honest, these four Daoyuan students were at best barely even Class E. If they really fought, Little Fury could settle one of them. That's right. Just based on strength alone, Little Fury was a Class E candidate. And for some reason, it seemed like Little Fury's abilities had been slowly improving after consuming the refresher fruit. It was as if it had directly absorbed magical energy to become stronger, just that the pace at which it happened was rather slow. Lu Shu wasn't too sure about the situation. He felt that the refresher fruit wasn't used to directly make it stronger, but it was to unlock the potential for Little Fury to improve. Only by unlocking this potential could it slowly grow and improve. As to how much potential a refresher fruit could unlock for Little Fury, Lu Shu was not too sure. Only after some time would he know. Lu Shu kept quiet for a long while. The other party did not know what was happening, and the guy who was standing was rather confused as well. What are you exactly planning on doing? What are you glancing all over the place for? Lu Shu turned to the couple in front of him and laughed gleefully. Look at your clothes, it belongs to the same store? The couple was speechless. We're obviously a couple. It's not a uniform. Are you blind? The guy named Yuan Liangtua showed signs of annoyance. Bro, what do you mean by all these? Can't we just sit on this bunk for a while? The girl beside him tugged at his arm. Forget it, we're from Daoyuan class. Why stir trouble? Lu Shu was delighted. The status of Daoyuan students was like students from the Imperial College in ancient times. All of them were proud and felt as if they were the greatest. Everyone wanted to show off and feel good about themselves. He knew that Daoyuan existed in university as well, but Daoyuan students from other states weren't as skilled as those from Yuzhou, as remains did not surface at those places. On the other hand, students from Yuzhou had been training in the remains for days. To be brutally honest, days of their training alongside the remains was equivalent to training for a month or two for other people. Now, many students in Yuzhou had reached the peak of Class E but were unable to obtain training methods. But this situation was far less common in other parts of the country. According to Jiang Shuyi, remains would appear in other areas sooner or later, it was bound to happen. But for now, Daoyuan students from Yuzhou were indeed in the lead. So what if you're Daoyuan students? Lu Shu chided fearlessly. One of the greatest joys in life was to look at other people who were actually weaker than you, gloat. Yuan Liangtua suddenly felt that no matter how you looked at this guy, he seemed mentally retarded. He laughed coldly. Daoyuan students are indeed impressive. So? Are you a Daoyuan student? No, Lu Shu shook his head, I'm a mechanic. Yuan Liangtua was stunned for a moment but thought that Lu Shu didn't look like one. What do you fix? I'll fix whoever pisses me off, Lu Shu replied slowly with menace. TSK, Yuan Tuoliang almost spat blood. What a damned mechanic. From Yuan Liangtua's distress, plus 288. From. The challenge issued in this statement was too blatant. Seeing that a fight was about to break out, a few of Yuan Liangtua's company stopped him. Forget it, forget it. It's not worth it over a kid like him. With that stab at Lu Shu and Lu Xiaoyu as kids, Lu Shu wasn't pleased. What? I'm a university student too. The other party was stunned. Lu Shu definitely did not look like a university student and Yuan Liangtua laughed coldly. Which university are you from? Luoyang International Institution, why? Lu Shu smiled coldly in return. Institution and school. Just one word but such a big difference. A change of word made it sound like a university. Which course are you from? Yuan Liangtua asked. This question caught Lu Shu by surprise. He had never been to university, how would he know which course he could be studying in such a short amount of time? But he could not give himself away now, continuing to smile coldly, I'm from the Milky Way. You? Yuan Liangtua and his company of 4 people didn't know how to react as they had never heard of this course. What was he studying? After 2 seconds, did they realize? Damn. The Milky Way. Who wasn't from the Milky Way? And I'm half a Martian. Why didn't you say you're Ultraman? From Yuan Liangtua's distress. From. At this moment, the distress points provided by these 4 Daoyuan students opposite him were increasing rapidly. They were university students from Linhai City who were out for a holiday during the school holiday. Being Daoyuan students, they felt rather unique and superior but only to bump into someone like Lu Shu. Lu Shu lamented to himself that university was more liberal. Look at the Daoyuan classes in high school, everyone was training diligently. The students in university, on the other hand, were dating.
What does it mean to be happy? 'Cause it looks like we all don't know. Glass half full or empty, man, we just putting on the show. Try to look to the heavens.